现在和队伍的磨合比之前稍微好了一点，但是感觉还是有很多可以进步的地方。感觉面对 FPX 战队，他们打野前期喜欢入侵，我们只要前期防守的好，然后拖到后面，感觉是可以赢的。
Even Magic recognizing that Team WE's strengths tend to lie in the late game for that scaling composition, wants to try to be protected in the early game, but when they draft these winning lanes, they don't act on it.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, whilst the strategy was sound, the execution was very far from, and that's a lot that they need to shift coming into the second game. If the execution is the problem, then where do you even start mid-set?
Well, I'm going to start with the draft, and the thing is FPX are going to swap into blue side, but before we talk about blue side draft adjustments that we want to see, Rusty, we have to recognize red side. Now, what I love that FPX did on red side is the Xayah ban that you were talking about. It's against Mystic. He's a great Xayah player. And then the higher priority pick of Ryze. Normally, teams will use the red side to find a counter matchup into the mid lane, but with Azir still open, it almost feels like it forces WE's hand to go for the Cassiopeia and take away that late game scaling potential from them and a pick that they like to favor.
Yeah, it makes you wonder as well what WE are going to do in response to that Ryze. Of course, the sides have swapped, but a priority on Ryze for themselves might be the answer here, being on that red side. I think that Ryze may actually be the #1 champion to be seen in game #2, because ultimately they last picked Caitlyn. They last picked an AD carry FPX on red side. It wasn't the last pick rotation that was their highest priority. I think it was much more evidence in their first pick of choice being in that Ryze, where on the opposite side, whilst we're looking at champion select from game #1, I feel like there is a very simple recipe that WE are just refusing to acknowledge, and that is just protect Mystic again. He is playing out of his mind at the moment. Give him a champion that isn't the Varus. Don't just put him on mid-range scaling utility type of AD carries. Give him the Caitlyn. Give him something that can scale like even the Tristana that they banned.
Again, that goes back to the fact that they banned the Tristana when Trist and Caitlyn were back up and forced themselves onto this position. So Caitlyn or Tristana, which way do you want Mystic to go?
I would prefer he gets himself the Caitlyn. His Tristana's a bit shaky. We know very well how much WE succeed in a siege composition. So Caitlyn is the way to go for me.
Perfect. Well, FPX had a great trap setup when they were on red side. We can see if they can do the same thing on blue side and close this out 2-0. Pulse, Raz, answer our questions.
I refuse.
Thank you, guys. Oh, wait. Yeah, let's see if it is indeed the Caitlyn priority coming in here, because the question I was going to ask is, well, WE, a lot of criticisms we have is like, hey, out of the drafting phase, why don't you have winning lanes? Well, WE had 3 winning lanes, so it's just like, well, now what? Where else do you go in the draft if you already have those winning lanes?
Yeah, perhaps I would say more clarity in gank pressure, because this time around, winning lanes are great, but if you don't utilize those lanes to get proper vision with your jungler, then okay. But if Magic's been having great ganks, primarily, with his Rek'Sai, Jarvan, which he apparently won't have this game, then just go for a Ryze pick. They might not get it because they don't have first pick, but if they get a Ryze mid lane, then it makes it a lot easier for them to kind of get those early game leads just based off ganks rather than push.
Well, right now we have the bans from FPX. That is Sion, Xayah, and Galio. And then on the other side, WE will pick up or ban away the Tahm Kench, Jarvan, and Camille. What did you just say, Raz?
I just said that they didn't have blue side, so of course they're not going to get it. That's what I said.
And there we have it. Ryze will be first picked for FPX right here. WE on the opposite side, Olaf is still available, and they are hovering over it, and they will lock it in as well.
And this is where it gets into a tricky point. This is usually when teams would get Cassio Olaf, but then you'd have no CC, so it's a full snowball on top of the Olaf's head. That's why teams start to really bolster down that with utility elsewhere. Alistar is one of them. We've seen some teams go to utility AD carries, and that's why we're very likely going to see another Varus pickup, just because if you lose utility in both mid lane and top lane because you have to pick for the Ryze mid lane, then you need the Varus pick. He's good in lane, but it's also just the fact that you need that CC.
I just realized this is third game champion select music, and we're only in our second game. We still have potentially 2 more games to come in this one. Someone is ahead of the curve right here, but Alistar will be coming out as Celestial's pick in this game, and it will be responded by a Shen and also a Kha'Zix. So Shen, of course, flex pick for Gimgun and Crisp. However, what's still open? Vladimir. So we're probably going to see Vladimir if it's not banned away.
They might just get banned away at this point in time. Seems like FPX have found themselves in the second half. I don't even want to guess what Gimgun would go towards. Clid! If he doesn't get it.
Oh god. Yeah, I don't know what you go towards.
I have no idea.
No.
Not the Urgot. Not going to even entertain that fact. We already heard. Who was it? Ah, yes. It was Clement who knocked you down a peg off that pick.
only because it hasn't won yet, but he still picked it, so there is a legitimate argument.
There's a reason for that.
Fiora going to be banned out against Gimgoon here, going to be another ban towards the top lane, and FPX looking towards also the top lane. None of the top lanes have been picked up yet this game, so Gnar will be taken away from 957.
Yeah, so this is where you get to a point where even when the top lane bans get thrown time and time again, Shen is still in FPX's court. So we haven't seen Gimgoon go towards the Shen, but he can. It's a very easy champion to utilize and has a strong laning phase. So I wonder if FPX goes towards the Shen top lane and allow Chris to pick up something like a Braum, I would say. Just as a takeaway to WE, sure, WE has the Alistar for themselves, but Braum is pretty damn good into the Alistar, so that'd be great to bolster their strength there.
Caitlyn, the final ban from WE, so we're not going to get the analyst predictions for the AD carry in this game as it is taken off the board. And then Gangplank, the final ban towards 957. So FPX, the same second rotation, second phase bans as game 1.
Yeah, there's going to be a Varus pickup. They don't want FPX to pick it up here, so nothing too special on that front. At the very least, it means that the Azir... Oh! Nah, you trolling. I'm gonna entertain this over because they were talking about it on the desk. There we go. It's the range that they were wanting to talk about. We wanted to see either the Caitlyn or the Tristana, but the desk said, you know what? I'll go Caitlyn. W were like, actually, we're gonna ban out the Caitlyn and go for the Tristana ourselves. So we have the laning phase burst along with Alistar. It's a great combination within the lane. We saw the strength of it in the last series when TOP picked it up for themselves in their winning game. And also just has the proper range as you rank up with the draw bead. Get to like level 16, you just have some sick range on you.
I'm gonna gun towards this one here. Thinking about the AD carry as well for FPX. They were hovering the Varus, but actually choose to lock in the Cho'Gath now to give them more time to think about the AD carry pick. So Cho'Gath will go towards the top lane. You'd have to think for Gimgoon, definitely a departure from the Vladimir pick. Actually just well into Vladimir. And then FPX final pick will be indeed the Varus.
All right, so FPX pick up the Varus, which allows Kha'Zix a little bit more room and safety of being the damaged jungler through and through. That's a lot of engage points coming out of FPX from the Varus ulti and the Ryze snare that we've seen in the last game as well. So FPX, they should just play through mid lane and bottom lane. Cho'Gath should just be left in his own lane.
Is 957 actually just trolling Gimgoon right now? It's just like, no, he's actually just going to lock in the Vladimir. Is Gimgoon swap sides? Is he actually just on WE now?
It looks like it. I mean, to be fair, 957, when he's streaming, he has the widest champion pool. He just plays everything. He plays Lowy, plays GP. Man's a carry player in solo queue. And he plays in competitive. He's like, all right, no, only these few champions. So he can play this. It's not like something out of the ordinary, but it's definitely, when you're on a big stage like this, it's a surprise that he's willing to go towards.
Yeah, it's not really a surprise, as you said, that he is able to play the pick, but he's also picking it into Cho'Gath into the top lane as well, into Gimgoon. That was what was, it's like, hang on a minute. You're picking yourself into a bad matchup. Are you Gimgoon? So he's going to pick up this one here.
And the thing with Gimgoon this time around, I think he's got the Resolve primary tree just because he's holding on to the teleport.
Yep.
So either he's gone towards, I would say maybe Airy or something, just something ridiculously AP, or he's a smart man. He's gone towards Grasp of the Undying, so we've seen a lot of it from these Cho'Gaths. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he does in the lane, seeing how Vladimir did well in the last game.
Yeah, it's not really a lane where the Vladimir can do anything too funky like a Kleptomancy. Cho'Gath will push in the lane. But we get to see the reverse of the matchup now as well, because Gimgoon was actually able to be pretty even in the Vladimir versus Cho'Gath matchup. So if 957 can do the same, then obviously has the same skill capacity in the top side.
And the biggest worry usually for a Vladimir in that lane, just to dig into it a little bit deeper, is the fact that there is some range to Cho'Gath's trading patterns. Of course, W, Q, both of them are pretty decent in being able to trade back. Also, his E, which is, what's the name of that one again? I'm challenging
Feral
you now.
Scream.
Oh, no, that's the W. Feral Scream. Anyways,
Vorpal
Spikes. Excellent. Gotcha.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Both at the same time. We'll call it a draw.
Yeah, but Vorpal Spikes allows him to trade through the wave, but also get a pushing lane for himself. So that's usually is great for Cho'Gath in this instance, and it sets up for ganks. So I want to see Kha'Zix go top lane, just because, well, Vladimir wants to get away from that lane, or at least wants to escape ganks with his pool. Not going to happen if you set up for a proper screen into Q combo.
Well, as we get onto the ref, we can hear the crowd. Let's see if FPX can make it the 2-0 sweep over Team WE. A major win for them in the Western Conference, and they can make it happen. WE, they would really like this win. They would really like some separation between them and Bilibili Gaming, because both of those two teams have had the same scoreline for too long. And while they are 3rd and 4th right now, WE would like to try and secure a 3rd place and not just be battling everybody else over a 4th spot.
Yeah, it's been rough for WE for the last few series. I mean, even though they took victories up against LGD and Suning Gaming, both of them, 3-game series, especially LGD, like what happened there? And then up against Invictus Gaming, they got outright stomped. So right now it's WE. They need to prove something to their fans. I've been chanting their names every single game that's been coming through, that they are getting better as a team.
To be fair, so did everybody. The top 3 of the Eastern Conference is undefeated against everybody in the West. So everybody lost their games against Invictus Gaming, Rogue Warriors, and RNG.
True, but people expect more from WE.
It is true. A world semi-finalist. Definitely would expect them to ramp it up. But of course, this is a team with Magic Celestial, trying to get used to these 2 new members into the team. And we've seen moments of brilliance out from both of those players. You know, Celestial had a great game last game on his Braum. Magic, not so much, but we've also seen his tactics also pay off. You know, playing around Xie, playing around top side of the map has often yielded results, because then Xie is able to carry that baton.
Carry the baton is doing quite well for himself, just consistently. I was really freaked out by it, by the way, when he came in first few weeks into the split, just falling on players. I thought he was the weak link of the team, but the moment he loses Condi, he steps up. Real drive underneath him. So yeah, Xie's been so strong as of late. What's really surprising about this early game, by the way, Pepper got red buff into blue buff and then took Gromp. So he's on the map a little bit more quickly. He did it just to defend his camps because Olaf is a faster clear. Problem with Kha'Zix into this matchup, Kha'Zix into the meta matchup of Skarner and Olaf, is that he is so slow in his own clear. Olaf can get Krugs very easily. Usually gets Gromp on first clear, but Olaf didn't do it this time. He didn't do Gromp blue at the same time. So usually Olaf's just burst out in clear speed. So it's on Kha'Zix to at least get some early skirmishes down to even map.
And what that turned into was taking the big Raptor on that camp. It did mean that Magic had a bit of tempo to move towards the bottom side of the map and take away the Crab, however. So he'll beat Pepper to the punch on that one. But Pepper will go back into his jungle and start farming his own Raptors. Keep going through his jungle here. And in terms of the bottom lane, we're just having a small push come out from LWX and Crisp, just getting a couple engages onto that bottom lane of Mystic and Celestial, but just trying to scale up really with this Tristana pick.
Yeah, and they're playing pretty safely in the bottom lane, both of them, just because they know that the junglers are in the area. Kha'Zix forcing the Olaf to path away from the Krugs means that, yeah, that's the byproduct of it. Your bottom lane has to play safely, even though they're pushing out in the lane. So it's nice to see this from them. Varus has good trading patterns, especially Shen into Alistar. Let's see this happen.
Celestial knocks back Crisp, trying to open up some distance, chase him down. Also gets the stun coming out. Flash comes out from Crisp. Both junglers moving into the bottom lane, but Olaf is quite some distance away. And Pepper was also there for the counter gank. So both junglers will go back into their own respective sides of the map. Look for a recall on the side of Magic, but Crisp lost a lot of health.
Yeah, a little bit awkward in terms of the ganking. Doesn't have boots, so not going to use Predator. Doesn't have Ghost, so he's not going to be able to just get there at any point. But that was just a really good knockback from Celestial to get the trade back onto Crisp. So usually Shens can get away with that. In fact, usually they just go onto the Alistar so they don't get traded back on. Because Shen just has a really oppressive trading pattern. Taunt in, you immediately proc your Resolve Keystone where you just have like 70 flat resistances, really ridiculous early level. And then when they try to trade back onto you, you just have your W to just feel that you just can't get auto-attacked. So how do you trade back on that champion? They found a way.
Yeah, Aftershock, it's a bit of a good. It's a bit of a good keystone right now, especially for those early levels. Gimgoon pushing up in the top lane here. Going to be most equal farm, so 957 has done well in that lane to just keep this one equal. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Cool pushing up onto Xie.
Really good from Cool, holding his wave near him. Now, this is what Cool has done when he's been playing Cassiopeia. He just plays trading champions incredibly well. That's his big thing. So he knows how to control the wave incredibly well. So Xie has to think a little bit more when he's pushing the lane. Because while Azir can push into Ryze quite well, Ryze can just walk up and trade against you because he has that extra shield on his passive when he's slinging spells at you. So right now, sure he's behind in CS, but Cool's been trading back.
And Pepper, he's gone full SOFM. Loves these Raptors, challenging it again against Magic. But this time, looks like the big chicken is going to go over to Magic.
It's good. I mean, he has to do it. That's the big thing, the big risk of Kha'Zix, why we don't see him so often. Going up against Skarner, who just pull you, by the way. That's a really sad matchup. And Olaf, that also just runs you down, have better trading patterns once he gets more tankier. And just has a better clear time. Just feels bad when you play Kha'Zix.
FPX are pushing up. The complete wraparound coming in from the Celestial and Mystic. At least someone's going to die here from FPX. LWX is actually just going to run away from his support. No, he's going to get chased down. Flash comes in from Mystic. Last auto attack. No. Can he make it happen? Pepper not going to be there in time. That was a lot closer than I was expecting, but Crisp will make it out scot-free.
Yeah, they tried to split some focus. They thought they handed Mystic the kill. Mystic had to use his flash while they were walking towards Crisp. So you know what? Let's get the kill on the one person, so your AD carry doesn't have to use flash.
Definitely greeting there just a little bit. I was like, hang on, where's the rest of the team? Mystic is the only one in range. Yeah, Chris just being a good support, trying to keep the minion wave at range, but pushed in by WE, so that will be denied farm into LWX, who died there, and will unfortunately have to go for the initial tabbies and double dagger back.
Yeah, it's gonna feel a little bit rough for him. It's not too bad. Oh, actually, now that Tristan, I thought that Shen was gonna stop Tristan's base. Now that's really bad. Wait a minute. Holy moly. All right, I thought Shen was going to be able to get it. Now that he has BF swords and pickaxe, that's not good.
No bueno. See how top lane's doing. Any better? Well, Cho'Gath is getting this push off, and again, pretty much equal. Remnant this time picked up by 957 instead of going towards the Protobelt, like we saw last game. Skirmisher Saber from Pepper going towards the Warriors build. Opposite side looks like Magic doing the same in terms of Cinderhawk on Olaf this time round. And then mid lane Court going towards his tier early plus Catalyst build. So pretty standard stuff across the build.
It's really nice from 957 picking up the support item just because it gives him the Bandit procs. Bandit procs are just broken. The bane of all supports just because now all laners now are just benefiting from the Bandit procs, which is why in the next patch they just completely remove it. So all supports are like, we're considerably poorer now because of these damn solo laners. And you can thank 957 and his Vladimir ways for that. It's mostly game good. Yeah, but yeah, you just get so much gold off of these trades. It happens so frequently. So it's gonna be Cho'Gath who's on the back foot, just because even though he's in even in CS, gold-wise, as this lane continues to go on, he's just gonna be behind.
I will say, damn millennials in terms of the supports, because back in the old days of League of Legends, you almost had no gold whatsoever. Nowadays, you've got so much extra gold. Comes in for your items, comes in passively.
All you guys can afford is a control ward and a boost from ability, and that's it. And then you get popped by LeBlanc.
Yeah, back in the old days, there were ping wards. They cost even more. It was 150 gold, I think.
And if you died with Oracle's Elixir, well, you're done.
Game over.
It's over.
So, supports nowadays, don't know how good they have it. But they'll still complain. Mystic and Celestial stepping up, clearing away this control ward.
Yeah, some of these control wards really need to get cleared out by FPX, by the way. Yeah. That one really deep in the bottom side of the map, because you can see it. It's pretty big. Right now they're contesting right in the river. I wish we could just get the observer over there. We go. That's been there for so long. Cool has recognized it's been there just because he placed a ward right around that area that's been denied vision. So he's been wanting to clear that ward out for a long time, but he knows the trap surrounding it. He doesn't want to get caught out by Magic, so he's been waiting on Pepper to back him up.
How's Sheer doing in the mid lane? About 100 farm, so he's got a pretty hefty advantage over this Rise so far in terms of farm. Just taking a look at the situation of Cool as he is taking away this control ward. Also got the support of Pepper, sending that Scry's Bloom over just in case there could be any Olafs in any nearby brushes.
Yeah, good play from him. I mean, this just comes down to constant patience. Like, that's something that's missing in a lot of the millennials, or just the players in general. New players that come through, they see a control ward, they're going to clear it. And then they usually die from it, especially when they go up against proper teams. So Cool's bringing that veteranship where he recognized that a control ward's there, and he has confidence that he'll be able to clear it up at some point as long as he calls his own jungler and just waits it out.
Now that I think about it, it's even more impressive that Cool has just been into the roster, because here in the LPL, we have 6 game days a week. Now, at what point during that week do you go back home and practice? Of course, after the matches, before the matches, when approaching your next game. But there's not a lot of time to adapt from week to week to bring in, a new player into the mid lane. Even though it is Cool, there's a huge pedigree behind him, but that's still changing up playstyle when you have someone like Bing, who was very much an interactive mid laner. Like, he would pick a Talia, roam off to a side lane. Mid lane would be like, where's the enemy mid laner? I'm by myself here. And then Cool obviously has a very different playstyle.
That's true. And what made the job a little easier to replace him is that even though he would primarily be known as a roaming mid laner, he had one of the lowest kill participation. So that's just interesting from that viewpoint, is that he did have some really good games, Bing, but he's going up against real top talent. So bringing in Cool works out well. You're right. What happened in the training regimen for Cool to be fit in so seamlessly? Because I guess there were initial rumors that he was coming in as a support player, but it seems like he did well enough to find playtime as a mid laner.
I think Crisp has definitely earned his spot on FPX, to be honest, when you look at them as a team. But that's the problem when you bring in like any new talent into any role as 957. He's okay. Going to back away from this one. Because there's just so many good players in almost every single role. Like, you speak about like the mid lane talent. There's a lot of good mid laners in the LPL. Like, Xia is just one of them. You know, like Brookie, Xiaohu, like literal living legends in the mid lane. Even Easyhoon's here. He's in the league as well. Like, you have to deal with so many people.
That's true. And what's great about this is that when you slot in a player like that, it changes so much of what your team dynamic is like. Because Gimgoon is a good example of being on teams after teams where he's had to be with, I would say, subpar mid lane. Raphael comes to mind. Last team was Game Talent. Republic is another one.
Big to play.
So now, look at how much pressure he's able to output just because he has so much pressure mid lane.
But in this case, Magic moved towards the bottom lane with that roam, managed to pick up the tower. Going to be a response to the top side from Gimgoon and the Herald that was placed down by Pepper. So it will be a trade in top, but WE have the small tempo advantage and the benefit of first tower, and Magic is able to move into the jungle and take away red buff here.
Yeah, good clear overall. It's just a trade inside, but there's no, I guess, Kha'Zix can commit to the next wave. That'll be fine. So I want to see what Kha'Zix does here. If he commits to the next wave so he allows the Rift Troll to smash into the tower, I would favor that for FPX. Even though the bottom side is completely cleared out in favor of WE, you can finally move the Cho'Gath out of lane and focus towards mid lane. So it's a tempo advantage in this sense, where Varus and Shen are completely pushing in to this tower, but they're already just starting the push if you're WE in top side.
That was cute from Pepper.
That's nice.
Yeah, we're not seeing a push in from top side. Gimgoon had not back for quite some time, has just finished his Abyssal Mask and picks up a Giant's Belt, so that was a massive buy for him, in fact. And he even picks up a pot and a Control Ward at that. W actually moved most of their members into top side after making that bot play. Moved almost everyone up there, including their bottom lane and Magic, to try and find that tower, it looks like. Gimgoon will be sent back to the bottom lane, and it will be a response for Crisp and LWX towards the top.
I guess the best thing about being a Tristana in this case is that you can push the enemy team to always respond to you. Even though they were behind in tempo, Tristana just eat up a cannon minion in the middle of a massive wave and completely obliterated it just because she's Tristana. So that's pretty cool from her, just to be able to push FPX to still respond to their aggression.
For now, these should equalize in terms of lanes. We have Australia lanes going on right now. Chia just picked up his blue buff because his delivery, and then he'll move back towards the mid lane here as well. So generally just still accruing farm. It's going to be a while until we see a fight, really. The first dragon was Cloud. Next one is going to be Ocean. So a bit of a contest here, but Sheer knocking Cool back in. Cool's going to give it a shot right here. Still managed to jump back, but he had Shen on top of him. The hidden Shen is the deadliest. Gets the double taunt off, but Celestial's coming in. But maybe Crisp under attack now. Flash comes in, but he is by himself to get the knock over the wall. But in comes Mystic as well. Lands the explosive charge and gets that one kill. Pepper wants to back it up now with the teleport coming into the mid lane from the top lane. Gimgoon decides to stop it in the end. 957 had nowhere to cancel, but it was another kill to WE.
A good response from Chris to see if he can save out Cool. He does in the end, but there are way too many members of WE. Good setup from WE just to get the dive, recognizing that everybody from FPX were so focused on the top lane, they didn't see that their mid lane was just under siege.
Luckily, it won't be the tower dropping here, so it will just remain one tower to one tower, no mid lane towers to fall. And Mystic will get some time with the top lane tower, though, and it seems like no one from FPX will be able to respond in time.
They got so many wards. WE has so many wards in the blue side jungle of FPX, so the rotation from mid to top, not really seen out. Kha'Zix was taking Krugs because he didn't really read the play, so it's unfortunate from the side of FPX that they lose 2 towers based off. Oh, just 1 tower, but a tower and a kill for them.
Tower, kill, vision. There was a lot lost from FPX here in this early game, but it's not cataclysmic. This is not a FPX have just thrown the game in 10 minutes. It's an FPX who are still able to bounce back.
Uh-oh.
Heck flash over the wall, and Mystic, they're still coming in. They also have Olaf, but he's a ways away. It's a good chain of corruption, but LWX is about to be trapped in the second. Flash comes away. Mystic is unable to pin him against the wall with Buster shot, but he still jumps in. Chris, can he get the save off to happen? Passes through Celestial, and Mystic has gone so deep. Mystic, hello, respond. You've gone so incredibly far right here. And Pepper is able to come in with the counter gang, actually choosing to back away from Celestial. Doesn't know who's around the corner, but will be able to flash in for the kill. Taste Their Fear comes in. True. Cool coming into the top side, flash out from Magic, and he will be able to get out alive. But Mystic, he went so deep.
What do you even say after that? I mean, I saw the play, I understood it. He jumped in because he could get the slow, and he was waiting for Alistar, but the taunt from Shen makes it so hard. In fact, Tristana, the moment the taunt comes through, Tristana should just back away. I'll tell you exactly when she should back away. So let's do it. Great taunt from Chris immediately. Great Bear salty. So Mystic's like, I'm going for this. What do you even think about this? I'm going to get the next auto attack jump straight on top of you. Chris, once again, finds Celestial, gets another taunt off of him so he doesn't follow through. So at this point, Mystic's just alone.
You didn't tell me when he was meant to back away, Raz.
Oh.
I was waiting for it all that time. I never got it.
I trolled you.
You trolled everyone who's watching this game.
I lied all along.
But yeah, even before the Shen landed the taunt was the point. Whereas before he was probably meant to back away.
I would say at that moment, actually the moment you get the jump off, the second jump off, and Varus throws out his hail of arrows, just watch.
And even then, you're going to take a bunch of damage from Tower because you're timing it. But
100%. You're probably just going to get chased down by Ryze anyways and he'll die.
Yeah.
But at that point, individually speaking, concede the defeat.
Yeah, I actually do kind of get it from Mystic though. To the point where he realized he was already in too deep and he was like, well, I'm all in. There's no half measures. Either we get the kill and we go for one, or I'm going to die trying. And he died trying.
He is the rapper.
It's true. Got the dragon just spawned. WE starting to chuck it down. We've got Pepper around the bottom side. We'll see if he can look for this steal. He doesn't have the flash, just have the ultimate to stealth in, and he finds the seal. Right under the nose of Magic and Crisp. He's caught out, but he managed to jump back towards his team. Celestial gets a nice little punch down and the stun as well, but now he's trapped. Support for support. 1-for-1 trade, blood for blood. But the dragon over to FPX.
Yeah, that was surprising. Usually Kha'Zix would at least try to go for a Q, smite, execute, at least to challenge an Olaf E smite execute. Olaf didn't even try for it, so Magic just didn't see the play coming and he didn't think Kha'Zix would even try for it, so he just lost out in the smite battle.
It's always a problem with junglers. Always assume there is a chance for a steal to happen, whether it's an Ezreal true shot barrage on the enemy team, whether it's a stealthed up jungler. Just assume that there could be a steal coming in, even if you can't see them. Because then that happens, and then Pepper just gets the steal. You kind of have an egg on your face.
Yep, you get flamed. You don't want that happening.
Never. But that's 3-3 in kills. WE still have the slight gold advantage, but all in all, I would say this game has definitely evened up a bunch for FPX to the point where they're in a very similar situation to Game 1, where they are still able to challenge the team fights, move towards objectives, and if they can find another inventive play like they did in Game 1, you know, get that Baron from underneath the noses of W, where I honestly feel this game will stop towards the Baron once more, then this could actually be a 2-0 for FPX, which would be monumental for them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important that WE shore up the vision control that they have because they need to take FPX seriously. Their mid lane weaknesses that they've had before no longer are weaknesses. In fact, these rotations are making FPX more confident in moving towards side lane plays. Gimgoon, not behind when he's walking up towards denying 957 in lane because he knows that Pepper and Cool constantly have his back. So right now FPX are feeling rejuvenated from this.
20 minutes on the clock, Baron is spawned. Both mid lane towers are open though, or rather they are up, open to be taken. So it will be pretty hard for the teams just to instantly move towards the Baron area and take it. So it seems like step one still needs to be completed by both these two teams, but got both the top laners in the bottom lane, just hitting the towers and trying to deal with these outer turrets right now. So there is a teleport coming in from Cool and Pepper, chasing down this Olaf, speeding himself up. Gimgoon is a little bit slow to the play and burns the teleport, however.
Yeah, they thought they could get it. I wonder if they just burn Baron and try and force a fight, knowing that Vladimir's on the opposite side of the map.
Still a ward in there, but it has just been control ward. The teleport coming down from 957. WE should be able to react in time. No more of those game 1 shenanigans. Celestial looks for the engage. He's locked on the backline. In comes 957, but that's not a big Vladimir ultimate, though it's a lot of damage onto Game Good. He flashes over the wall. Mystic, he's now maybe in a bit too deep with Pepper right there as well. Flashing over the wall. Bursts the shot. Not a knockout coming in for Celestial. Chris goes down. It's a 1-for-1, 2-for-1 trade for WE.
I wonder if WE even want to look for Baron after how low they are and they don't have the damage of Mystic. It's gonna just, yeah, it's over. It's cooled off, but man, that was insane. Mystic caught himself out. Still had Flash too. I want to go back to see if it just came up. Not sure about that one.
Yeah, may have just come up, and also he definitely did not see Pepper there. Felt like he was safe once the Cho'Gath jumped over the wall, but in fact, there's always Pepper hiding in the shadows and hiding behind the team of WE. But after that play, 2 kills, 1 death, but they get the mid lane outer turret.
That's the thing about W Evolved Kha'Zix, is that it really changes your play style, or at least it makes it so much easier for your team just to get the slows off. Isolated slows so much. So let's take a look at this one, because Celestial goes in. I was worried about the follow-up, but 957 immediately goes in. Taking a look specifically at Mystic's positioning, jumps in and gets trolled because Gimgoon's already over the wall. That's where the real concern comes in. And he did actually have Flash too. So that was just really poor positioning from Mystic. Jumping in on the Cho'Gath that was just going to be able to flash out, and then not repositioning himself as well.
Mystic's been a little bit bloodthirsty this game. This is, I mean, Mystic, we know him well for overextending for minion waves, but not really for overextending for kills as such, but he's definitely done a lot of that in this game. And it has been to his detriment.
That would have allowed them to get Baron. So that's the criticism there, is that even though WE as a team won the fight, they lost a lot of summoners, but Cool almost got a kill. Ultimately, had his positioning been a little bit more proper in that instance, they would have been able to get a Baron and end the game. But now that we're back in square one, which is just pivoting towards Baron pressure.
Very similar situation to the first game, really, for both these two teams. Challenging over Baron Vision again, kind of doing the whole Baron dance, pushing up, pushing back. The ebb and flow of a ward battle will continue here. But the mid lane outer is down for WE. That is a major prize that they managed to pick up after that last fight. And it's an objective that FPX will find it pretty difficult to move towards unless they find multiple kills onto WE. So there is definitely that. They can push up further, try and choke FPX out of their vision.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit... Wait a second!
Mystic! He's just straight up dead. Celestial now caught out with his pants down. And the rest of WE do not want this. They want to try and get out. Damage control more than anything. We're just talking about picks while FPX find 2.
Yep, the bottom lane of WE, Celestial and Mystic down, still with Flash, just didn't expect the taunt Flash to come through. Now he's going to be reeling from that one. You do not steal Baron from a Cho'Gath. He doesn't have ulti though. That might be an opportunity.
There's a chance. It's a 3 versus 5. That's a good ultimate coming in for the Vladimir and enough chunk damage to probably dissuade FPX from going onto the Baron. Good stuff from 957.
Good challenge, good challenge, good challenge, really, at that point. FPX went on top of it just as a bluff. Sure, you have a Cho'Gath, but you don't really have a way to just secure the Baron. So Mystic, sure he fell through, but the team of WE were going to be able to defend that Baron. So yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's see how much vision he had. There's no vision here. Okay, yeah, you can flash that. You can flash that. And your team, you should just wait for your team to walk up, because you can't do that alone, especially since you saw the entire team. They did have vision of 3 people around that area. I think 4 as well. So they knew that the team of FPX were there.
Man, these mistakes are really starting to compound now for Mystic. Another attempt onto the Baron from FPX. Mystic is pushing up now with the rest of his team. Magic pushing in as well. This might come down early, but it's going to be gobbled up by Cho'Gath, and now the engage will follow. It's instant kill onto Pepper. How much can WE get off this one? She is already low. He'll have to back away from this one. Celestial is down. It's a 1-for-1 trade, and FPX, they get away with Baron.
And Cool even flashes through, think he can get the kill onto Xie. That was a free Baron. 957 was nowhere near it. So, turns into a Cho'Gath eat, and immediately a disengage coming out of FPX.
Really well played from FPX once again, finding the first Baron in the second game once more. Again, getting an advantage. WE will take the Dragon, but again, it's another Cloud Dragon. And FPX seems to be playing these Barons so incredibly well.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both things of WE not playing so well this split. Sure, we've criticized them heavily because of the new players. Celestial's been all right, so I'm not even going to blame Celestial. Those have been Magic. And the team play coming through. Condi provided a lot of structure.
Yep.
And FPX, game 1 with Cool, and it seems like so much of their team play issues have been resolved.
That is something I didn't even consider moving towards the Baron. WE have lost Son of Baron. They don't have the steal potential anymore. Like, that was a major point when WE would approach a Baron that's already been started by another team. They would always have Connie. There's always the percentage play that they can go for. They didn't have it.
Look, I agree with that. There's still a Cho'Gath there. So,
We've seen Condi pull off some bizarre steals in the past.
I'm not going to credit Condi for stealing it away from a Cho'Gath.
I've seen him do it against Kalista Ren before.
That's an own goal, all right? That is not Condi getting a goal. Soccer shames people for an own goal. We should shame people, all right?
It happens enough, and Condi steals so many Barons that it stops being that. It starts being a percentage play that goes in the favor of WE because of it. But they didn't have it.
I mean, 100%. I agree with you. Condi definitely pulls off those plays time and time again when WE are far behind. He's not there in this instance, so it's definitely something you could say. That's a little bit sad.
That's a loss.
Holistically. Not just this game, but holistically.
And FPX, what can they do with this Baron now? Because they're pushing up the mid lane. They can probably finally crack this Alta turret. Oh, hey, it's already down. It's actually an Azir turret that's left. I was completely fooled by Azir, the Emperor of the Sands, so it's fine. Tau's going to go down once more and push up the middle lane. We've got the Baron's up cannon minion. Good old Cannondorf is going to rock up to this tower and lay waste to it.
They're moving up. They really want access to that Cannondorf.
I mean, Celestial wants to do something, but he always has to use his Unbreakable well. And that will be enough for them to kill that one. It looked like Mystic was able to step up and just nuke it down. So the battering ram is down, but Celestial's ultimate is also burned.
It's a good thing that they have enough frontliners on the side of WE to just challenge the abandoned dwarfs whenever they can.
And here comes another one. Well, they don't have a second banner, I don't think. So it will just be the Baron's up cannon minion. Right, so Cool also went to the bottom lane, so he's got another lane pushing. So FPX, if this doesn't work out, they can maybe rotate this pressure. We'll see.
He has enough AP where his auto attacks are meaningful. So split pushing, given enough time, get a good chunk in that turret. So he has two options, of course, staying in the lane or rotating to get the mid lane turret. So he's actually rotating, seeing that 957 is in the bottom lane.
They already have a lot of wave clear, though. I mean, Mystic and Shie can hold waves for days. Let's see if they can do it once more without this Valamir's pressure. Magic's able to step up, and the answer is yes.
All right. I do think one control ward would be great, being able to cut WE's vision of the blue side jungle. They have one that's, I suppose, inside the wolf camp, question mark. Should be a little bit deeper out. That's actually a really bad control. If it's inside the wolf camp, get that thing out of there. They should look for a base so they can revamp their control wards. Chris is the only one that has one on top of himself. Right now it should be Cool and Pepper picking up some of themselves.
That's pretty random control ward. If I'm the jungler or anyone clearing that camp, I'm just like, hey, extra gold. To pick that one up. So do fine with that one. But
interesting. You should do it a little bit to the top of it, to the left, just so you can cut the vision of them if they are behind the wall. That's the major reason.
WE, though, have pretty much prevented the entire siege coming in from FPX. They managed to get the outer mid lane turret, but that's the only objective they got off of that Baron, really. So WE are able to stabilize, turn this back into another dance around another objective. Next Dragon will also be Infernal, so most likely we'll see the teams clash over that one for sure.
It seems like bottom lane, Infernal Dragon is going to be the point of contention. Usually it's these inner turrets, but at this point in time, sure, FPX are putting pressure onto it, but WE's defense is pretty good on top of the fact that they have Alistar, Azir Sec combinations to kind of break up those sieges, so don't see FPX trying to double down on it.
We just got 1-4 lane assignments right now with Ryze just in the bot lane, soaking up this farm. And for now, the gold is almost bang on even. Only 200 gold separating the teams at almost 30 minutes. Pretty impressive stuff. Infernal Dragon spawning in around 90 seconds from now, and it's actually FPX who have beaten WE to the punch in terms of vision. In fact, all of their control wards are down there. I can see at least 4 in that river.
I'd say about 3, unless if someone's just literally sitting on top of it.
Definitely saw another one. I think Shen's sitting on top of one, but WE want their blue buff right here, but they're going to have to kite away from this one. And Pepper jumps over the wall. Looks like he managed to pick up a leap and the Taste Their Fate combo.
Where are they going? Oh, mid lane. Perfect rotation.
Moving to the mid lane. There's 2 people actually defending this one, Mystic and Celestial, so they'll get a bit of poke damage down, but the rest of the team is able to rotate. So I like the idea, but they were able to rotate a little bit too fast, WE.
Yeah, if they had another damage dealer, specifically LWX in that one, would have been able to get a lot more meaningful damage because the entire team had to take the long way around it. And that's what you want to do, especially if you're not looking towards a larger neutral camp to play around, to force WE to move towards. WE is a great turtling team, but if you don't force them to move out, then you just have to play it the old-fashioned way, which is force them to rotate the long way from one turret to the next, bottom lane to mid lane turret. FPX haven't been doing that properly this game.
Yeah, cool. Still chilling in the bot side. 10 seconds left on Infernal. Another 30 seconds on Baron. So we're going to have split objectives here, but it seems like both teams that do want to just move around this one. Teleport out from the Cho'Gath on his way.
He's going to be forced to do so just to be able to contest this Infernal Dragon.
There's a lot of health. WE are stepping up, able to clear out this vision around this area.
He's got himself
Pixel.
Warmogs, Abyssal Mask, 11 stacks. The guy is stacked up at this point in time.
Dragon down to 4,000. And they get the contest. Cho'Gath, he just wants to get in range for the feast more than anything else. Pepper
No way.
He takes his time. He finds yet another steal away from Magic. Now here comes the chase. Everyone's trying to get aboard the bus. And everyone's out. FPX managed to do it.
Oh, no.
Pepper! Mystic! The assassinate comes through. Flash away from Celestial's re-engage. Can he make it happen? 957 comes in. Mystic and Celestial from the sidelines. This is doing so much damage to crits. He'll back away from this one. But Gimgoon, no chance to regen. The Cho'Gath's down. 3 kills to WE. And cool, he's on the run.
They had to learn how to cut their losses. Sure, Pepper got picked up. That's okay. That's fine. That's one mistake. You know that Mystic has stacks for days, or he can actually just jump off of the reset. There's no reason for Gimgoon to do a half stack back. There's no way for LWX to try and commit to a fight. Now they lose the Baron, a much larger objective because of it.
Really unfortunate. It really was just a lack of damage control coming in from FPX. That turns into a Baron, and WE will be able to use this one to push. Let's take a look at that one again, because it was a great steal from Pepper.
Yeah.
They'll be happy with the Infernal for a kill trade.
You should have essentially recognized that, yeah, it's an Infernal for a kill trade. Take it and move away from it. Either give up Gimgoon so everyone can get out and use your Rise ultimate so the 4-man lineup can get further away, or you say, okay, we're using Gimgoon to get out of here, and it's Pepper who's going to fall out. But they try to save everybody, so guess who died? Just about everybody.
Because all the resources were still available from WE, and that's going to be a big swing here. Yes, the Infernal's down, but WE, they can take a lot off of this push. They can nuke down this mid lane tower, and now the Tristana really starts to turn online.
The criticisms we've had to Mystic's position in this game, he's just been farming up really well for himself. He's a great farmer, so at this point in time, he has 3 strong crit items underneath him, and a fully built up Lord's Dominic's regards.
Push comes into the mid lane. Do they have a banner? They do not, but they probably don't need it because they have already a siege engine in the form of Tristana if she's able to step up to the tower. There is a good amount of threat, though, from FPX to just keep them away.
Yeah, look at that. Was really good placement from Gimgoon's Q, because his Rupture, he's waiting for Mystic to walk up to the turret, usual pattern for the Tristana, and he would just queue out in that direction, maybe find an opportunity to get a jump on it, but Mystic's been playing that well.
Well, this is quite slow, this push, just because there is no banner on that minion, but it will eventually die. They're able to step up between minion waves, now push into another inhibitor tower here. WE wading into the grounds of FPX now. 957 also with the split push in bot lane. Should be able to take this one relatively uncontested, unless Cool can get there and stop him and push him away from the tower, which, see if he can do so. It's already very low, and the cannon minion is wailing away at it, so it seems like 957 will get this one. And WE rotate into the bottom lane.
Oh, here we go.
Wants this engage. He doesn't want this engage. And they'll just get the tower. So it's 2 towers, double inner turrets in from WE.
Good defense from Cho'Gath. These are 2 waves crashing in at the same time in bottom lane and mid lane. FPX are fully committing to bottom lane. That means that Mystic should have the opportunity to get free hits on this mid lane tower.
Yeah, he got a couple. He got his explosive charge on that one.
It's good timing ultimately coming in from WE. They're waiting for these waves to crash in at the same time. They're stalling out the bottom lane wave so they get the mid lane wave paced out properly. So, they're pretty good from them.
This tower's almost down, bringing up the Sun Disk as well. The minion wave coming in. WE still have probably 2 more waves of minions ready to push up. Should be the tower collapsing. And FPX, we'll see if they actually just try and defend their inhibitor here, or whether they just let this one go, try and cut their losses. Pepper poking from behind, getting the slows down. Inhibitor's down, so FPX will not look for the engage. They'll wait for the next objective.
Seeing what he can do at this point, their composition really does descale. It's hard for Cho'Gath to do much in these team fights, unless if he gets I would say he's going back for a Gargoyle Stone Plate, but if he gets Gargoyle Stone Plate and find a good chomp onto Mystic, great, that's excellent. But ultimately a mid-range champion of Eris, mid-range champion of Rise, Kha'Zix in team fights really do poorly against the long range of the Azir and Tristan.
And for now, we can just take a look at some of the items. I want to see if we're actually getting to a banner situation for anyone on WE, because that would have been a much faster push had there been a banner on their side, but it doesn't seem like anyone's too interested. Righteous Glory finished by Celestial. He's got the lock up the Iron Solari as well. Bot lane got those triple crit items, pretty much on the same items as before, so just needs to try and complete Mercurial Scimitars, the next big item. Mid lane, 4 items. Jungle just going for tank. I don't know what's going on here, by the way.
Something's happening. Yep, it was a ritual. That's what it was.
I guess so. That must be. Cool's able to step up in the mid lane and clear out this mini wave though. So for now, the super minion's not really going to be too much of a detriment to FPX. Rise is able to clear them by himself as well, so it's not too bad. Next dragon's going to be Elder, so that is the big objective on the board for the teams to contest. And FPX are actually the ones to push out the base first, despite the mid lane inhibitor going down.
WE just getting these lanes set up. They're not too concerned about the dragon. I mean, it's 40 seconds till it's up. FPX, their only play at this point in time is to get proper wards and rush it. Otherwise, there's no reason to be in that area. WE just has a good pushing wave top lane because they had Vladimir up there.
Yeah, now they'll probably come in and try and clear out some of those wards, but 20 seconds left. Bot lane's pushing in, so we might want to try and meet that before it crashes into a tower. But they will be playing around bot side anyway, so it's not too much of a big deal.
It's the difference between top tier teams and teams that are trying to learn, trying to get there. He gets away. Is that teams trying to learn, they get to the dragon area, it's like, all right, we're here first. Just hold position. We control this land. Top tier teams, they set it up. They force you to move away from that area because they realize, hey, if you don't move there, you're literally just going to lose tower HP and multiple minion waves.
Yeah.
So they have to send someone back for the top lane wave so WE can play patiently and regain control of this area. They're playing patiently.
Yeah, WE not forcing anything. Pushing up, taking away the vision. Gimgoon split. Following with the damage. Not going to stick though, since they do have the Warlock, unless they just turn around and kill him. Pops the Gargoyles right now. Beam me up, Scotty. Get me out of here. Crisp and Gimgoon take that one to safety.
For that one, it's a bit of a trade. Nice banner. It's a bit of a trade for Alistar ulti, which is pretty impactful, but also the Gargoyle Stoneplate, which denies Gimgoon's ability to go flash chomp, because he doesn't have flash nor the Stoneplate. So his positioning in teamfights are going to be a lot less linear. It's actually just difficult for him.
Nice little win there from WE. Elder Dragon, 13,000 HP, but they should be able to cut it down relatively quickly. Cool was pushed up the mid lane. He's also moving through the river right here.
That's this.
It's down to 4,000 HP. They've turned onto Gimgoon right. Once again, WE are kind of split right now. Cool has to back away. He's low, and the flash comes out from Mystic. He gets the reset. Looking towards Chris right now. Is low himself. Magic not able to finish him off. And that's another assassinate by Mystic. One after another, and he bounces in for the second, the third. Moving on to Gimgoon. It's almost a complete wash from Team WE. A 5-0.
Right for the pickings. Mystic found one person after another, just out in the open, away from each other. So it was Cool first that took the 1v1 burst from him. He takes it easily, and it was just people limping up out of the fight, so it was very easy for Mystic to get the kills.
And we don't even need Elder. If we go 5-0, we just push it down the mid lane, which already has super minions there, and WE will finish this game off. It took another 40 minutes into this one, but WE have evened up the series 1-1.
Stay true to the teamfight mentality and play around Mystic. Heard that one in the analyst desk, and the crowds are cheering for it. It was the Mystic show. He got himself his long-range Tristana, and he won out these teamfights. Sure made a few mistakes, but once he got to the real crucial point in the game, he made it worthwhile.
I feel like the fact that WE, I really feel it was around the Dragon, after that Infernal Dragon, where they were able to get multiple kills, then turn it into the Baron. It felt like up until that point, FPX had a pretty good amount of control because of the fact that, you know, Mystic was getting caught out a bunch of times. They were able to get these picks. They were able to, for the most part, keep control over the Dragon area. But after that, it was a big swing from WE. And from there, you can see the massive swing from 32 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I'd say it's primarily because of the wave control coming on the side of WE. It wasn't just the end game that made it the difference. It's time and time again, every single time it was an massive objective. WE were confident that they had control on it because it was on the side of FunPlus Phoenix, but they weren't paying proper attention to their side.
So we saw some of the weaknesses from FPX as you move towards the mid and late game, kind of exploited there by WE, but it's also good to see that WE is still able to do it, because we did have criticisms in game 1, like they did have winning lanes that didn't really work out. Magic had multiple times where it was just mechanical misplays out of that guy, but second game, much more clean.
Yeah, it was much cleaner from him. I think the Tristana and Caitlyn picks that we've been hearing from the analyst desk, and it was obviously Caitlyn banned out here.
Yeah.
Wonder who's going to be on blue side, because if you're on blue side, you might be the team that picks up the Caitlyn and force the enemy team to either pick Tristana and have a proper lane or just ban it out. So that's going to be an interesting thing coming out of game 3.
That's true. We did see a side swap up. We'll see if that impacts the third game. But for now, we are going to send it over to the analyst desk to take a look at game number 2.
And of course, we would have a 6-game series. But here we go, boys. We have to start in the draft phase because we're talking a lot about different champions. You know, Azir, Caitlyn, Tristana, Ryze, and every single one of these champions came up.
Yeah, and I will say that we actually called most of it, so for what it's worth, we were kind of prepared for this draft to happen. The place that we do want to start is where Raz mentioned, definitely the fact that there was a Tristana. We said one thing just before we threw it to them, so we want Mystic to pop off because he has been playing incredibly well. Get him off the Varus, give him something with extra range. The only downfall to this, and the reason that we have to bring this up first, is he gets the Tristana and they ban the Caitlyn, which is perfect from Team WE. Their opponents then get the Varus, and you still feel the same way then about FunPlus Phoenix having that and getting outscaled eventually. I think we've found a trend in this series so far. One team tries to win early, they don't. The other team outscales them.
And what's interesting to me, though, is that FPX did have the opportunity to look for a late-game scaling champion. So that's why the Caitlyn ban was so brilliant, is because Team WE are saying, we have an Olaf.
Yeah.
We're going to empower the Olaf by taking the Tristana, who's the more maneuverable ADC between these two hyperscaling options, and then by leaving them only with the option of the Kog'Maw, they're like, okay, I guess we have to go for the trading pattern because Varus can trade better on Caitlyn and lane, because we don't want Kog'Maw just to get rolled over by Olaf. So very brilliant red side strategy from Team WE.
Yeah, even the support being a Shen noted from FPX. And the late rotation for both of these teams for their AD carries is what enables this in the first place. And you will note that the red side now seems to be this AD carry counterpick meta between both of these teams in this best of 3 series, where there were things that we still expected in earlier rotation from FPX, like the Ryze first, something that we said would be a big deal, and it was still early rotated and was still good, but Xie shows that he has an answer to that as well with the Azir. And now the entire dynamic of the draft phase will start to shift from this point, as WE have shown they have an answer to literally everything FPX threw at them.
And then it comes down to win conditions. So the first place that we really have to start is all of these repeated Baron plays. Because FPX put themselves where they effectively had the same comp that Team WE did in game number 1, it was a mid-game comp. So we want to fight around the Baron. We have a Kha'Zix, we have a Cho'Gath, we have a Varus. We need to siege this at 20 minutes or we're going to get outscaled. And they attempted that about 40 times.
They certainly did. Now, I will say that FPX executed this better than Team WE did in the first game, and they got themselves a Baron at some stage. They were able to push with that at one stage as well. The biggest reason for all of this is the man who's just died on your screen twice now. It's Mystic. Cho'Gath is handcrafted to kill AD carries. They do exactly that. They kill the AD carry multiple times, and this is that one time that FPX get themselves the Baron. And you're looking at it, you're like, okay, they've done what WE couldn't do. Perhaps this is going to be enough for them to close out the game. But then we saw these heroic plays from the side of Team WE that don't look heroic, but having to use an Alistar ultimate to minion dematerialize, a Banner of Command cannon, something that felt like it had to be forced by FPX. They had to cherish that minion and let it push an inhib down, or they start to get outscaled from the point the Baron subsides, and that's exactly what happens after that.
Yeah, and then you see the stats, you know, like 300 games, Mystic and Xie playing together on the LPL, and it starts to come that even with the 2 new members of Magic and Celestial, that Team WE still have that incredible late game synergy, you know, when they're not playing for a massive gold deficit.
Yeah, definitely. And the one place I'd be looking towards that is the Elder Dragon, the way that basically ended the game, the last team fight. The fact that they didn't just take the team fight. They played it slowly. They controlled their side lanes. The Azir spent about a minute and a half hitting a blue buff and not killing it. I would presume to time it with the Elder Dragon and slow down the pace of the game, but these smaller details is what does give WE the victory in the end, because they can play patiently and slow when necessary.
And I do also then want to look across the other side of FPX. We're talking about synergy. You know, we expect that from Team WE. They're not the sum of their they're the sum of the parts, not the sum of their individual pieces. Pep Pepper and Cool have made a very unlikely duo, or I guess I should say likely, because Pepper's playstyle, it makes sense. Cool's played with very aggressive junglers in the past, but Pepper's also played with very veteranship mid laners.
This is a super cool thing to break down as well. We were watching the game, we just turned around on the big screen to watch it. This is the last team fight that you get to see as well. Pepper stealing away another major objective. And the duo between them, Cool is communicating very well, Frost, you'll note. Unfortunately for him, it's not just Pepper that he has to control, it's the whole team. And unfortunately in those moments, it does go completely awry. Gimgoon, no matter how tanky you are, you're still going to melt.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. Anytime that Cool's camera is on screen, just watch him during fights. He is going crazy. We are up above the stadium. This is a 500-person arena, and we can hear him from here, and he is very passionate. He is yelling a lot. This means a lot to him, and you can visually see that.
It's his first set back. He's playing against Team WE. It's always redemption for Cool to see if he can show up and step up to the plate and perform. And the fact that between 500 people and us is the stage as well, all of the noise of the casters, we could still hear him yelling, says a lot for how seriously he is taking this.
But we do need to address our man of the match, and unfortunately, it's not Cool this time around. It is Celestial for Team WE because we're going for game number 3. And that Alistar, like you said, using his ultimate to the dematerializer, setting up these fights and really trying to dig out Mystic from some unfortunate situations.
And a lot of WE's composition was about kiting backwards. If they ever wanted to go forwards, it was super crucial that Celestial did it and did it well, and he was able to get those engages off very well for the side of Team WE, and very much deserving of the MVP there, because it wasn't Mystic until 30 minutes, it was certainly the support.
And with that, we're going to see what's going to happen for our final match of the night between WE and FPX.